This is an artifact excavated from ancient ruins. It is impervious to damage by any means. It bears a warning from the ultra-ancient civilization to future humanity, to protect our legacy from the wicked. Consequently, an organization named Arcam was founded to guard and seal these relics. Its members are known as the Relic Guardians, each equipped with the most advanced gear and exceptional combat skills. Due to these relics' powers, far beyond our current civilization, nations covet them. Omanai, an agent, fights year-round against top agents from various countries to protect these relics. His exceptional talent made him an S-class agent of the Arcam Corporation, the Spriggans, at just 16 years old. Today, you received a new mission to protect linguistic prodigy Professor Ri Yamabishi. Arcam recently discovered a new ancient site, the Shrine of Fire, on Mount Fuji. To seal the artifacts within, a linguistic genius like Professor Ri is needed to decipher ancient texts. The United States has shown a keen interest in this site for unknown reasons. Therefore, to ensure Ri's safety, she will be under 24-hour protection by the Arcam Corporation. However, as expected, an incident occurred. After dinner, Rie discovered her room door was ajar. Immediately, she saw a bodyguard's corpse. Then, an armed soldier appeared before her. Panicked, Rie fled, managing to escape into the elevator just before the soldier reached her. As she was about to relax, she heard a noise above. The soldier had forcefully opened a large hole in the elevator roof. Rie quickly exited the elevator and ran to the hotel restaurant, only to find it under enemy control. Just as she despaired, Omanai arrived in time. Yu hadn't anticipated the enemy's ambush with numerous soldiers outside, greeting him with a barrage of bullets. However, according to the unwritten rule in animations, where there's smoke, there are no injuries. Yu reappeared through the thick smoke, then deployed his technological weapon, the armored muscle suit, which the enemy's bullets could not penetrate. Within seconds, Yu eliminated most of the enemies. As he was about to finish off the remaining soldiers, the last two were suddenly slashed into pieces. The attacker was Koichi Moroha, a member of Japan's external intelligence agency, who had previously leaked Rie's information to the US simply because he did not want Arcam involved in developing the Shrine of Fire. He then attacked Yu first, but his spirit technique, Tornado Beast, could not harm Yu with his technological armor. Thus, Koichi decided to retreat. The next day, to decipher the ancient script quickly, Ri suggested visiting the site in person. Despite Yu's strong objections, the corporate executives had already approved the operation. However, this decision led them directly into danger. As a shrill alarm sounded, an anti-air missile struck their helicopter. In a critical moment, Yu and Ri parachuted to safety. The culprits were none other than Koichi and Spetsnaz. Meanwhile, Ri felt utterly disheartened by the continual crises, not understanding why so many innocent lives had to be sacrificed for a relic. Suddenly, Yu handed her a metal plaque, which turned out to be a message board from the ultra-ancient civilization. It revealed that all these so-called relics were actually fragments of an ultra-ancient civilization, which had passed their knowledge as a legacy to the next species. However, it emphasized that these legacies must not fall into the hands of the wicked, as even the least significant of these could destroy the world. Yu's mission was to protect and seal these fragments of ancient civilization from dark forces. Seeing Ri's emotions stabilize, Yu then settled her in a hollow tree. They were resting there when the pursuers arrived nearby, signaling the start of a real battle. Yu went alone to deal with the Spetsnaz searching for them. In the dense jungle where visibility was limited, he took down enemies one by one like a ghost. However, while checking his weapon, a bulky man silently approached him from behind. Yu reacted quickly, preventing a surprise attack. Yet, his bullets did not harm the man. It turned out that Victor had undergone full-body technological enhancements, making regular military weapons ineffective against him. Even a severed head could be quickly healed through brain surgery. Facing Victor, who possessed both strength and regenerative abilities, Yu struggled. In a critical moment, Yu used all his strength to break Victor's arm and then smashed his head with martial arts techniques. Meanwhile, the Spetsnaz who had found Professor Ri were suddenly torn apart by an unseen force. It was Koichi who had betrayed them and taken Professor Ri. He brought her to an ancient site at the base of Mount Fuji. There, he activated a sphere on the end of his sword handle. revealing the ancient script scattered around the site. Koichi, a priest serving the Shrine of Fire, forced Rie to decipher the ancient texts. He successfully awakened a super-life form, the flame serpent, sleeping beneath Mount Fuji. As a priest, he could control the flame serpent and thereby the frequency of eruptions at Mount Fuji, aiming to dominate the world. When Yu saw the flame serpent on Mount Fuji and hurried to the site, Koichi was already controlling the serpent with the sphere on his sword handle, freely launching fiery attacks. His crimson gold sword could easily cut through Yu's armored muscle suit. Fortunately, a metal plaque Yu carried blocked a fatal blow. Just as Koichi was about to deliver a deadly strike, Yu used the metal plaque to block his slash. The sword, capable of cutting through anything, shattered instantly. Yu then punched Koichi into the lava. Afterward, he activated the sphere to reseal the ancient site. The flame serpent that had spread across Mount Fuji also dissipated, returning to the molten lava below. The man shot clear threads from his arm, instantly slicing a group of soldiers into pieces. This brutal act was merely for the sake of an ancient relic named Noah. The world contains various relics left by ultra-ancient civilizations, each storing the technological essence of ancient times. Even the weakest of these has the power to change the world, and the power contained within Noah's Ark is among the greatest of these relics. The boy who often sleeps in class is the guardian of these relics, known as the Spriggans. However, Yu's classroom behavior has displeased the class president. Although he just promised not to skip classes anymore, he left through the window the next second upon receiving a mission from his organization. Recently, Arcam Corporation's exploration team stumbled upon the legendary Noah's Ark in the snowy mountains of Turkey. During the relic's excavation, it was repeatedly attacked by unknown forces, but fortunately, the attackers were repelled by Arcam's guards. Yu's mission involved not only ensuring the safety of the scientists, but also determining the nature of Noah's Ark. An ancient metal plaque found alongside the Ark read, "Noah can bless or destroy all things." If an accident occurred, the group needed Yu to seal or even destroy Noah. Yu soon arrived at the base atop the snowy mountain. As an S-class agent, Yu, without any airs, greeted the guards warmly. Just then, Professor Maisel, who was in charge of the relic's research, called him over. The orichalcum dagger, specially crafted for Yu, was completed. Besides its unmatched sharpness, its hardness was many times that of diamond. In addition to the weapon, Maisel also developed a protective arm guard with a steel wire grappling hook, equipped with a high-performance motor. However, an unexpected incident was about to occur. Suddenly, a shrill alarm sounded throughout the base. The group of mysterious attackers had returned, and this time, the enemy was different from before. No conventional weaponry could repel them. As the enemy drew closer, the guards finally identified one of them as Fat Man from the American Mechanized Assassination Squad. Realizing they were no match, the surviving soldiers planned to retreat to the second line of defense and wait for Yu's support. But in an instant, they were slashed into countless pieces. It turned out that Fat Man was not alone. Another assassin named Little Boy had already arrived above the guards. True to their reputation, the American Assassination Squad quickly eliminated all Arcam guards. Yu's punch, full of lethal intent, was narrowly dodged by Little Boy. It was too late when Yu confronted them, asking why they killed so many innocents for the so-called Noah's Ark. Fat Man claimed that such a powerful weapon should be in their hands, all in the name of justice. Hearing this, Yu could no longer contain his fury and was determined to make the enemy pay. A distraction caused by hitting Little Boy gave the enemy a chance. Fat Man elbowed Yu, sending him flying, and then pinned him against a wall. Yu's suspicion was confirmed. The assassin's armor was made of orichalcum, the same as his and a core secret of Arcam that had been stolen by other forces. Just as Fat Man was about to strangle Yu, a grenade hit Fat Man's back, allowing Yu to break free. A blonde man appeared above them. Another S-class agent, Jean, had joined the fight. With Jean's involvement, the real battle began. Little Boy's agility was no advantage against Jean, and the hunter quickly became the hunted. as the situation reversed. Being called a monster by an ugly cyborg enraged Jean greatly, and now he was set to punish this foolish loudmouth. Jean grabbed little boy by the arm, ready to administer punishment. Meanwhile, without little boy's assistance, Fat Man quickly fell into a disadvantage. In a one-on-one fight, he was no match for Yu. After the smoke cleared, Fat Man's mechanical arm had been severed by Yu, and the scales of victory tipped towards true justice. Next, Yu was determined to make him experience the terror of those unjustly killed. Finally, the Spriggans narrowly won this tough battle. However, they were unaware that the enemies they had just faced were merely the appetizer to a much greater crisis looming on the horizon. With just a glance, the boy sent a man flying like a cannonball. Then, with a mere thought, he snapped the man's arm. All this was to seize the relic called Noah's Ark beneath their feet. This world contains various relics left by ultra-ancient civilizations, each storing the technological essence of ancient times. Even the weakest among them holds the power to change the world. Recently, Yu and Jean successfully defeated the American invaders. Facing these killers of his comrades, Jean showed no mercy, ruthlessly extracting information from them. Despite being severely injured, Fat Man proved tough, hurling insults at the Spriggans when he realized they did not plan to kill him. Jean, however, cut him off without further words and killed him. As Jean was about to deal with little boy, Yu stopped him, arguing that there was no need for further killing, as the enemy had lost the will to fight. Jean warned Yu that he might regret his naivety one day. After detaining the enemy, Yu and Jean followed the professor to the excavation site of Noah's Ark. Gazing at the magnificent creation, Yu couldn't help but marvel. Jean questioned why they were going to such lengths to excavate rather than simply cutting an entrance on the Ark's surface. The professor, aware of this, explained that the Ark, like the ancient metal plaque, was a product with time stopped within it. Without the flow of time, it could not be destroyed by external forces. After extensive research, the professor discovered that the metal plaque was the key to entering Noah's Ark, and now only the final step of synchronizing the magnetic field was left. However, an accident was bound to happen. At that moment, an unidentified boy approached the base. Shockingly, bullets, which could normally shred anything, were deflected by a strange force field. Seeing that guns were useless, the guards quickly shut the main gate to prevent his entry. But with just a glance from the boy, the massive steel gate was forcibly broken open. Soon after, a large group of American soldiers surrounded the guards. Having learned from the last encounter, Yu arrived at the scene immediately. Before he could react, his body was struck as if hit by a cannonball. The boy turned out to be McDougal, the leader of the American mechanized assassins, who had acquired tremendous psychic abilities through a magnetic field amplifier implanted in his brain. Young as he was, he already held the rank of colonel. Under pressure, the professor reluctantly handed over the metal plaque to McDougal, allowing him access to the site of Noah's Ark. Meanwhile, the freed little boy was pointing a gun at Yu's head, ready to shoot. In this critical moment, Jean intervened to save Yu again. Ordinary soldiers were no match for him, merely human punching bags in his eyes. Seeing the bad turn of events, little boy took Yu hostage, forcing Jean to halt. Just then, a gunshot rang out, and Jean fell to the ground, shot from behind. The powerful S-class Spriggan had been shot, but they did not realize this act would unleash hell itself. Jean was actually a legendary werewolf, and seeing his own blood triggered his transformation. He would not stop until he had slaughtered every living thing in sight. At the same time, McDougal and the professor had already reached Noah's Ark. Shockingly, as soon as McDougal touched Noah's Ark, its doors opened for him. Led by McDougal, they reached the core of Noah's Ark. With McDougal's subsequent operation, this artifact, originally a divine legacy, was fully activated. At this moment, the mysterious boy finally revealed his true intentions. Surprisingly, He had no desire to hand over Noah's Ark to the United States. Instead, he planned to purify the deteriorating Earth, as human pollution had pushed the planet to a critical point. Now in control of Noah's Ark, he could manipulate the planet's climate at will. He saw himself as a god, aiming to completely reset the planet. The countless life forms stored within Noah's Ark were sufficient to create a new species and start a new era. McDougal then invited the professor to join him in creating this new world. However, the professor could not agree to such a deranged and insane plan and decisively refused McDougal. Rejected, McDougal attacked the professor's assistant with his powers and threatened to kill the assistant if the professor did not agree. At this critical moment, Yu and Jean finally arrived. Unexpectedly, McDougal immediately activated Noah's Ark. The huge vessel broke through the earth, appearing as if a deity had descended. A burst of azure light spread instantly, and McDougal raised the earth's temperature. Soon, a second great flood was imminent. With the situation extremely dire, Yu decided to have Jean take the professor to safety while he stayed behind to stall McDougal. Without wasting words, Yu immediately attacked. However, he was no match for McDougal and was completely overwhelmed by his powers. Due to frequent use, McDougal's cranial magnetic field amplifier also entered a state of high tension. Yet, unexpectedly, Yu managed to rise again, almost like a superhero. Yu finally defeated McDougal in the last moment. He then attempted to carry McDougal back for medical treatment, but McDougal used his powers to push Yu away and immediately activated Noah's Ark's self-destruct mode. The reason was simple. McDougal had been created solely for Noah's Ark, and without it, he felt he had no purpose in life. When Yu regained consciousness, he was on Jean's back. The divine Ark, which had once benefited all beings, had also made its final farewell to the world today. Branches grew out of a soldier's mouth, and in the next second, his entire body burst open with branches. Instead of dying, the soldier picked up his gun and began attacking his comrades. Such bizarre and terrifying scenes are common in this world, which is filled with relics from numerous ultra-ancient civilizations. These relics contain the technological gems of ancient civilizations, each capable of catastrophic power. Recently, Yu was tasked to investigate a relic in the primitive forests of northern India. He soon encountered an obviously placed, exquisitely crafted statue. Yu scoffed at the trap, wondering who would fall for it. However, a beautiful figure suddenly jumped from above and snatched the antique into her arms. This girl was Yoshino, Yu's frenemy and a treasure thief. As expected, removing the statue from its pedestal triggered the relic's collapse. The two argued as they fled the crumbling site but managed to escape without harm due to their skilled movements. Afterwards, Yu, followed by Yoshino, explained that his mission was to explore the legendary Forbidden Forest, rumored to trap anyone who enters. Instead of being deterred, Yoshino suggested that the greater the danger, the rarer the treasures inside, and insisted on continuing with Yu. As they stepped into the Forbidden Forest, they immediately lost their sense of direction. While puzzled, they were ambushed by two fully armed soldiers. Yu quickly saved Yoshino, and a fight ensued. The soldiers they had knocked down got up again. Yu, without hesitation, drew his gun and fired. But then a strange thing happened. The soldier shot in the head didn't die instantly but continued to attack them like a zombie. Underestimating Yoshino because of her small stature would be a serious mistake. Afterwards, Yu discovered from the enemy's uniforms and weapons that they belonged to the European and American Trident Task Force. To clarify the situation, they followed clues to Trident's base. However, they found only the bodies of soldiers with no signs of battle and no injuries, suggesting the relic's power was at work. Suddenly, huge roots burst from the corpses. Yoshino was caught off guard and was grabbed by them. Yu, disregarding the danger, chased after and managed to rescue her. As they were retreating, gunfire drew their attention. Yu subdued a lone Trident soldier, and Yoshino asked him what they were fighting against. At that moment, the soldier showed signs of pain and exploded on the spot, with a black demon emerging from his body. The demon, made of black mist, was impervious to gunfire. Yu's hands then glowed, launching a massive shockwave that obliterated the powerful demon. It turned out that Yu's armor could convert mental energy into shockwaves, which was effective against such spectral enemies. The series of events made Yoshino lose her temper, loudly demanding to know what was in the forest. Reluctantly, Yu revealed that intelligence reports claimed the forest hid a legendary divine liquor called Soma, which could grant immortality to humans. Just then, a strong figure approached them. It was Akatsuki, the captain of the Trident Squad. A divine and majestic spirit appeared out of nowhere, but in the next second, it transformed into a vengeful, evil spirit. Flesh-like substance writhed in the air, resembling a hell on earth. Such terrifying and eerie scenes are not uncommon in this world, due to the numerous relics of ultra-ancient civilizations that contain the technological essences of ancient times, even the weakest of which possess the power to destroy worlds. Recently, Yu and Yoshino encountered the sole survivor of the Trident Squad in the Forbidden Forest. Before Yu could speak, Akatsuki attacked suddenly, overpowering the usually unbeatable Yu, forcing him to retreat continuously, and even kicking him away when he was caught off guard. As they fought intensely, an unexpected event occurred. The three were surrounded by a horde of ghouls without realizing it. With no other choice, Yu and Akatsuki temporarily set aside their differences to jointly eliminate these monsters possessed by evil spirits. During the fight, Yu shockingly discovered that among the ghouls were not only Trident's mercenaries, but also numerous fighters from the Arcam Corporation. Yu was outraged that the corporation had sacrificed so many lives to obtain Soma. Fortunately, using their formidable skills, the trio managed to eliminate the horde of ghouls without harm. After this incident, they decided to set aside their prejudices and temporarily join forces to escape the strange forest. Over the next few days, the trio explored the Forbidden Forest but lost their sense of direction and kept circling the same area. By chance, Akatsuki found the body of a monk, and surprisingly, there were no evil spirit fluctuations in the area. Yoshino then took out a string of prayer beads and began to perform a ritual. It turned out that Yoshino was a spirit medium with strong, innate spiritual power, allowing her to communicate with corpses and the souls of the deceased. Centuries ago, monks had stumbled upon the formula for creating Soma. The quest for immortality then triggered a massive global war. To stop the conflict, a monk traveled alone to this forest, cursed by the Hero King, carrying the formula on a stone tablet. The temptation of immortality proved too great, and over the years, many greedy individuals entered the Forbidden Forest, all meeting their deaths. With each death, the forest's resentment grew stronger, eventually transforming into a massive monster. The only way to escape the forest now was to reach its deepest part and defeat the entity known as the Curse Tree, a conglomerate of malice. As the trio ventured deeper, they encountered more malevolent spirits. During a fight with these spirits, Yoshino took the opportunity to slip away. During her communication with the old monk, she had learned the location of the Soma formula, and as a treasure thief, she couldn't resist such a priceless treasure. Finally, by a pond, Yoshino successfully found the legendary elixir of immortality's formula. However, just as she was preparing to leave, satisfied with her find, the resentful spirits of those who had died in the forest over the centuries awakened with the emergence of the Soma formula. After finishing their battle, Yu and Akatsuki sensed a strong presence. A massive, malevolent spirit emerged from the ground and charged at them. Knowing they would all die if it continued, Akatsuki decided to hold off the monster, while Yu went to confront the source of all troubles, the Curse Tree. Upon Yu's arrival, Yoshino, who was in danger, managed to escape. Together, they reached the heart of the Forbidden Forest, where the legendary Curse Tree stood, surrounded by countless evil spirits, emitting a nauseating stench. Suddenly, a soul coalesced in the air and the legendary Hero King appeared, only to be enveloped in blood and transformed into a terrifying spirit. As Yoshino's backpack tore open, the Soma formula fell to the ground. All the evil spirits immediately rushed towards Yoshino. In desperation, she threw the formula into the air. Yu caught it, but in the next second he smashed the formula to the ground. Taking advantage of the distraction this caused among the spirits, Yu made a hole in the trunk of the tree and finally reached the stone statue of the Hero King. By placing the statue next to the hero king, the spirit was purified, causing the forest's malice to dissipate. Afterwards, Akatsuki reminded Yu that the Arcam corporation he was part of had changed. The organization that once protected relics now harbored ambitions to dominate the world. He advised Yu to be cautious before departing. This is an ultimate war machine left from an ancient civilization. It is covered in an unknown pitch-black metal that is many times harder than diamond. Its internal structure is undetectable by any means. To uncover its true nature, Colonel Maria from the Department of Defense, against the archaeologist's objections, forcibly applied voltage to test its electrical resistance. This action unexpectedly caused a power outage at the research base, and the machine began releasing steam and emitting strong electrical currents. This ancient ultimate weapon was successfully awakened by the conduction and took the form of a giant robot resembling a cockroach, with its head glowing a bright red, creating an oppressive aura. Meanwhile, outside the base, Yu was sent by his organization to prevent the military from activating the robot. When he saw the base lose power, he realized it was already too late. By the time he infiltrated the lab, it was engulfed in flames, and nearly everyone there had been burned to ashes, except for Colonel Maria, who had miraculously survived. Yu immediately restrained Maria and demanded to know where the robot had gone. The next second, a steel wall beside them melted due to the high temperature as the robot detected their presence and approached. Yu opened fire on it, but to no effect. The robot effortlessly melted Yu's armored muscle suit with its casually fired laser beams, and even a dagger forged from orichalcum could only barely penetrate the robot's tough armor. Faced with the robot's incredible destructive power, a direct confrontation was impossible. Yu had to retreat temporarily to devise a new plan of action. He fled to the command center, only to find Maria there as well. Through the surveillance, Maria had witnessed the robot's terrifying destructiveness. Yu explained that the robot was an ultimate war machine created by ancient technology, also known as the berserker. Maria's country had forcibly awakened the berserker to harness its power, yet lacked the means to control it, plunging the entire base into chaos. If it escaped the base, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sometimes the real danger isn't the war machines themselves, but the human intent behind them. To stop the berserker, Yu had Maria pull up the base's blueprints. They located the nuclear shelter on the 4th basement level. Since the berserker would initiate a self-destruct program once it lost functionality, Yu needed to lure it there to minimize the impact of its explosion. Maria was responsible for sealing the blast doors to the outside from the control room. Just as everything was proceeding according to plan, the blast doors mysteriously opened, allowing the berserker unimpeded access to the outside. When Maria tried to close them again, she found she had lost administrative rights. She quickly suspected someone in the main control room was interfering. Upon rushing there, Maria discovered it was the doctor who had initially tried to stop her. The doctor intended to release the berserker, letting the world witness the consequences of their actions, a revenge for the tragedy Maria had caused by awakening the berserker. Meanwhile, Yu used himself as bait to attract the berserker's firepower, successfully delaying its advance to the outside, but he was cornered in the process. He repeatedly asked Maria for escape routes, but received no response. At the critical moment, Maria wrestled control from the doctor and guided Yu, leading the berserker to the door of the nuclear shelter in Section D. Yu pushed the berserker into the shelter with all his strength and quickly shot the steam release system. He used the dense steam to lessen the impact of the lasers fired by the berserker. Seizing the opportunity, Yu retrieved the dagger he had left on the berserker and hid in the steam, delivering a fatal strike unexpectedly. The berserker completely lost its power and activated its self-destruct mode. Yu urged Maria to close the blast doors while he desperately ran for the exit. However, he was unable to escape in time and was engulfed in the explosion. Just when Maria thought Yu had no chance of survival, to her surprise, Yu had managed to hide in a maintenance pod at the last moment, narrowly escaping death. Meanwhile, Maria collapsed due to excessive blood loss. The crystal skull lit up with a dazzling glow and then shot out a devastating beam, followed by a massive mushroom cloud. In this world, where the destructive power akin to a nuclear bomb seemed ordinary, Countless relics from ultra-ancient civilizations are scattered, each holding the technological essence capable of apocalyptic destruction. Recently, the Arcam Corporation received news that Professor Shozo, who had been conducting archaeological research for them, was brutally murdered in Germany, and the ancient artifact he was overseeing, a crystal skull, had been stolen. Yu's mission was to track down the murderer and retrieve the artifact. Upon arriving in Germany, Yu first visited the site of the professor's murder to pay his respects. There, he met the professor's daughter, Suzuko. However, Suzuko grew distant when she learned Yu was from the Arcam Corporation. She later revealed that her father had once prioritized family over his work as an archaeologist, but changed after getting involved with Arcam. He became obsessed with ultra-ancient artifacts, engaging in bizarre relic investigations, and even missed her mother's funeral. As Suzuko grew increasingly angry and criticized Yu and Arcam, Yu suddenly picked her up and ran. They had been targeted, and as Yu fled, their pursuers stopped hiding and chased after them with guns drawn, unaware they were facing an S-level Spriggan agent from Arcam. After escaping, Suzuko saw that Yu had been shot and impulsively checked under his jacket, revealing a high-tech muscle-enhancing suit of armor. Yu explained that the armor was a result of her father's research. Seeing this, Suzuko remained remarkably calm and expressed a desire to learn the full truth behind her father's murder. Professor Shozo was previously researching an ancient artifact known as the Primitive Skull, which, when activated correctly, could unleash the explosive power equivalent to several nuclear bombs. This information accidentally leaked to the dark world, and the professor was murdered by an extremist group from that nation. Subsequently, Yu alone stormed the enemy's headquarters, where the enemy seemed unfazed by his arrival, as if they were expecting him. At that moment, the actual murderer of Professor Shozo provocatively confronted Yu. As Yu advanced to attack, a man named Brance intercepted him. While Yu was confident no one could match him, Brance's next attack nearly took his life, revealing that Brance was a warrior enhanced by forbidden drugs. Brance moved in quickly, but Yu, with his extensive combat experience, managed to hold his ground, though he knew this was not a sustainable strategy. Suddenly, Yu heard a voice and swiftly used a steel wire to immobilize Brance. Just as Yu was about to avenge Professor Shozo, a figure silently approached and with a light palm strike, sent Yu flying. This person was Oboro, a top fighter from the Dark World rumored to use Qigong techniques from the mysterious East. Yu was incapacitated by the strike. Following this mishap, the severely injured Yu broke through a window to escape, barely landing with the help of a grappling hook. He then fled with Suzuko's assistance. Soon after, the extremist group tested the crystal skull by firing a laser into a desert, illuminating the night sky with a mushroom cloud. This demonstrated the true power of the crystal skull. The group's leader then used this ancient advanced technology to attract sponsors. However, Yu unexpectedly appeared and threatened the sponsors to hand over the crystal skull. Unbeknownst to him, Suzuko had followed him and was captured by the man responsible for her father's death. To ensure her safety, Yu surrendered and disarmed himself. At that moment, Oboro appeared, rescued Suzuko, and swiftly eliminated the soldiers near Yu. It turned out that Oboro was Yu's master and the most formidable guardian of the relics. The leader of the extremist group took this chance to escape. Oboro instructed Yu to pursue the leader while he stayed behind to confront Brance. Brance tried to confuse Oboro with his speed, but was unexpectedly tripped by a casual kick from Oboro. Brance was shocked that Oboro could perfectly replicate his abilities. While Brance was stunned, Oboro used Qigong to defeat him. Meanwhile, Yu chased the leader through the desert by car. Seeing that the leader's ammunition was depleted, he attempted to activate the power of the crystal skull. Realizing the danger, Yu hurriedly pulled a grenade from his bag, intending to throw it to stop them from activating the skull. A woman put on a necklace, and the next moment, she arrived in a divine space. A powerful energy surged upwards, its potential easily enough to erase Japan. Yet such terrifying events are not uncommon in this world, where countless relics of ultra-ancient civilizations containing the technological essence of ancient times exist. Each relic holds the power to destroy worlds. Recently, the Arcam group detected the appearance of the Ghost Island, which only emerges every 40 years. To uncover the truth behind this mysterious island, the group decided to send you to assist the Arcam Pacific headquarters in investigating the event. As the team entered the ocean, a mysterious figure flew towards them. Upon closer look, you recognized the figure as his old acquaintance, Yoshino. Unbeknownst to them, Yoshino had learned of Arcam's plans to visit Ghost Island. As a world-renowned treasure hunter, Yoshino could not miss this adventure. Eventually, under Yoshino's persistent persuasion, the captain agreed to her request, as it was unthinkable to leave a young girl alone in the ocean. During the night, the investigation team discussed strategies in the cabin. However, at that moment, an unidentified ship approached them. As the crew members tried to identify the ship via radio, the other vessel launched 2 missiles at them. The captain immediately ordered to intercept the missiles. Meanwhile, the intelligence officer identified the ship as a U.S. 7th Fleet Aegis cruiser. On board, directing operations was Markson, the head of Trident Corporation. Their mission was also aimed at Ghost Island, and being competitors, they naturally could not allow Arcam to participate. Meanwhile, upon learning that the approaching vessel was a warship, the investigation team's captain immediately changed tactics. With the flip of a switch, the research vessel reached speeds of nearly 200 kilometers per hour on the sea, forcing the pursuing ship to give up. Days later, as the team passed through a thick fog, they finally arrived at Ghost Island, surrounded by pyramids. As the team set foot on this legendary island, a bizarre scene unfolded. A huge military ship suddenly appeared in front of the investigators. At the same time, on the American warship, Markson explained the secrets of Ghost Island to his captain. It turned out that the island was an artificial one, equipped with an ultra-ancient teleportation device. 40 years earlier, the United States had sent people to investigate it, confirming the island's capability to traverse different dimensions. Over the centuries, various ships and planes that mysteriously disappeared at sea were found on this island, and now, all the mysteries were about to be unveiled. Meanwhile, Yoshino took advantage of the team's distraction to slip away again. Perhaps guided by a thief's sixth sense, she soon found a necklace that seemed very valuable and put it around her neck. While Yu was searching for Yoshino, he sharply sensed a deadly aura approaching. The person was Yu's instructor, Bowman, once the strongest Spriggan agent, now a pawn for Trident Corporation. At this critical moment, Yoshino suddenly arrived, bringing shocking news. The necklace she found was actually the control panel for Ghost Island, which had been absorbing Earth's energy for centuries and had now reached a critical point. If unchecked, the energy release would blow the entire Pacific, including Japan, into a subspace. The immediate priority was to prevent this disaster. Fortunately, there was a relic on the island powerful enough to destroy it. It turned out that during World War II, 3 atomic bombs were sent to Japan, but one plane mysteriously disappeared. That lost plane was now right before them. However, after Bowman set up the detonation device, he captured Yoshino and seized the ancient artifact. A confrontation between master and pupil seemed inevitable. Bowman, without hesitation, launched an attack on Yu. Despite Yu's strength, he was no match for Bowman, who possessed the ability to create duplicates of himself. Yu was quickly overpowered. At that moment, Bowman spoke again, criticizing Yu's reluctance to fight harshly due to Bowman being his former instructor. He warned that Yu's naivete had indirectly caused many comrades' deaths, and that continuing this way would result in losing even more that was precious to him. In the end, Bowman was defeated by you. He used his own life to teach his best student one last lesson. As Bowman lay dying, he advised you that Arcam had changed and urged him not to blindly follow orders, but to do what he believed was right and avoid regrets. Eventually, Ghost Island re-entered subspace with its violent energy, while the investigation team successfully escaped. At that moment, sunlight broke through the thick clouds, as if Bowman was bidding a final farewell to everyone.